Yo, welcome to the part 3 of this Godot tutorial series. In this part, we'll be working on the asteroid since we have our player working in the last part and we need stuff to have to dodge. So let's get started. Create a new scene by clicking the plus icon. Next, click on the other node, and by the bottom left, you can see the 3 nodes we use for the player, and we are going to be using them for our asteroid. Now, click on the area 2D node, which will be the asteroid parent node, and add its children, the animated sprite and the collision shape 2D. Now, click on the animated sprite at the inspector, click on frames, click on new sprites frames, and still click again. An animation panel will appear. Click on the default frame and change its name to num. Head over to our assets folder, sprites png, and you see meteors folder. Click on that and you will see some bunch of meteors, so choose your favorite one. I wasn't having a hard time picking my favorite, so don't follow me. And our meteor is kind of big, so we need to scale it down like we did to the player. Head over to the inspector. While you're clicked on the animated sprite, head down to transform and scale and change its value from x to 0.3 and y to 0.5. Now let's add a collision shape. Click on the collision shape 2D and head over to on the inspector. Click on the shape, click on circle shape because it's the best suited for our asteroid, and adjust it like mine, and that's it. Now click on the parent node area 2D and change its name by double clicking it and write asteroid. Now Ctrl S to save the scene in our source folder, and we are set and ready for some coding. Click on the parent node and click on the scroll thingy to add a script. Click create and clear all that. Now we want our asteroid to just fall down, and in Godot or computer programming generally, your y-axis increases downwards and reduces upward, not like in math. So if you want to make the meteor move downwards, we need to add something continuously to our y position. Okay, let's get started. Create a variable called graph and set it to 100. Next, in type from process delta with a column at the end, press enter and it will auto tab. Under it, type position plus or equals transform.y times graph times delta. In this code, Godot will add whatever value we get here to our position. Note transform.y is used instead of position.y because transform is the movement of an object in space. That's not an official definition, but it's just how I understand it. Now, before we run this scene to check if it is falling, click on the parent node and move it above our game window. And press F6 to run the scene. As you can see, the meteorite falls. Now we are going to create our level or world where the gameplay will be done. Now click on the plus icon to create a new scene. Click on the 2D scene, rename it to world, or if you want level, and Ctrl S to save it in our resource folder. Click on the pin icon there, it stands for instance. We can add other scenes in this scene as child nodes. Now if you click it, a small window will pop up at the middle of the scene, and in it you can see all the scenes we have created. Now click on the asteroid, press enter to add our instance. Place the asteroid above our game window. Now click on the world again, this is the parent node, and click that pin thingy and click on the player and add it by pressing enter or clicking the open button. Now move the player to the bottom where mine is and press Ctrl S to save. If you run the scene, nothing will happen. The player will just phase through the asteroid. In order to let them do something when they collide with each other, we first need to add their collision layers and set their collision marks. To do that, click on project settings, scroll down till you see 2D physics and click on it. Now you see stuff like layer 1 to wherever it ends. Now in layer 1, click on it and name it player, and layer 2 asteroids. Now what this means is any node that was set in layer 1 is in the player's layer and vice versa for 2. Now let's set the player and asteroid collision marks. Now head to the asteroid, now click on its parent node, and on the inspector click on collision. Under it you see layers, which was what we set at the project settings. Now you have to save your scene before the layer names will appear, so Ctrl S to save. Now layer is what dimension is the node in space, and the mass beneath it is the objects that this node can interact with. When you hover your mouse on the first white block, you will see player. If it doesn't show, resave your scene until it does. Now since the first white box, which layer 1 is checked, it means our asteroid is in the player's layer, which we don't want. So uncheck the box and check the layer 2, which the asteroid and the max is on player, because we want our asteroid to collide with the player. With that done, let's head over to the player and set its collision layer and max. Click on the parent node and collision and layer. Leave the layer at 1, which is player, and set its max to layer 2 asteroid, because we want the player to collide with the asteroid. Now you might ask why these layers and stuff. Well, in games, you've noticed that not all things collide with each other. For example, without collision layer, the player shooting a gun will be affected by the bullet. So, in order to solve this, we use collision layer and maxing. Note that only physics bodies, or note that into the physics bodies, which are rigid body, kinematic body, static bodies, and area nodes, has this collision option in their inspector. For example, an animated sprite does not have the collision tab in its inspector. Now that is done. If you run the scene, they will still not do stuff because we haven't told them what to do when they collide with each other. In order to fix that, we'll have to give them signals to emit. What's a signal? Well, a signal in Godot is like a whistle being blown when two objects collide or interact with each other. For example, if the player and the asteroid collides, a signal is sent to activate something that will occur when they collide with each other. Or if we press a button, a signal is sent to activate what we set when the button is pressed. On the asteroid scene and on the inspector, click on the node tab, and two tabs will open up: the signal tab and groups tab. We'll talk about groups tab in another video. Now on the signal tab, you will see different signals for an area node. Top is on area entered. This is when an area node like our spaceship enters the area of our asteroid. And next we have an on area exited, which is called when the spaceship leaves the asteroid layer. I'm not going to explain all of them because the rest are body enter, which has to do with physics body like kinematic body. GTQuest made a great tutorial dedicated to signals, so go check it out, link below. Now we are going to click on the area entered because that's what we want, both our spaceship and asteroid area nodes to emit when they collide with each other. So double click on the signal and a window will pop up, and click connect, which once you do that, Godot will create a new function in our asteroid script that will have a green arrow thingy that indicates the function is a signal. Now any code we place under there will be carried out when this signal is emitted, which occurs when the spaceship and the area asteroid collides. Now we are going to print ow, which is a string. As you can see, ow is in quotes. Now head over to the main scene, click F6 to run the scene. Now when they collide, ow will be printed. You can also see the printed stuff in the command prompts in Godot. Now what we want is when they collide, the player loses and the spaceship disappears. So to do that, under the signal function area entered in the asteroid script, type QFree. QFree is a function in Godot that deletes a node from a scene while the game is running. By placing QFree, we want the asteroid to delete itself, and also type area.QFree area, which is whatever area node that collides with the asteroid, which in our case is the spaceship. So it deletes both the spaceship and the asteroid. Now head over to the main scene and run the game. And once the spaceship hits the asteroid, they both get erased from existence. Now you can head over to the main scene and click on the asteroid and Ctrl D to duplicate the asteroid and place it anywhere you want in the world and play as much as you can. Hey, that's it for today's tutorial. Hey, it's the #100 days of game dev, and this is day 92, and in the next tutorial we will work on spawning asteroids in the game world. So like and subscribe for more epic game dev stuff. I'm Destin, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.